Hi, it's Shannon Heaton, and for this season of the Tune of the Month, I shall continue to present and teach a tune. I'll bring in Matt Heaton for some harmonic perspective on the tune, and I'll give a little Irish Music Stories podcast style information about each tune. Glad you're here, and welcome to the Tune of the Month. Welcome back to the Tune of the Month room, Matt Heaton.
It is a pleasure to be here, Shannon Heaton.
So what's on tap for this installment?
We're going to do Down the Broom. Play it one time through and then break it down.
Sounds like a plan. Come on. So before we deconstruct everything, let's look back and learn a little tiny bit more about Down the Broom so that we have a broader context. I'm Shannon Heaton, and this is Irish Music Stories, the show about traditional music and the bigger stories behind it. Like how some things just go together, like Sorcha Costello's fiddle and E minor and F.
The lower strings on my fiddle in particular are a little bit more warm and boomy, and I enjoy that. If I can, I'll often change the key of the tune and bring it down there.
And some tunes just go together.
There's some tunes that you can't play them without another tune. They're set.
Like Down the Broom and The Gatehouse Maid. Irish tunes are often put into sets. 2 or 3 tunes played, medley style, to keep the music going on a bit longer for the dancers, and to offer some variety as players move from one melody, one mood to the next. When you pair different tunes together, you get a conversation going with the music and with the other players. On your album, The Primrose Lass, you recorded Down the Broom with...
Yes, The Gatehouse Maid.
So why include this iconic set? Like, hasn't it already been done?
I feel like it's part of my DNA, and whether it's done or not previously didn't really bother me because it's about how I approach it. You know, putting it in a different key can always give a tune a little bit of a fresh lift and sound.
No matter the key, Down the Broom and The Gatehouse Maid have been part of the collective Irish dance music DNA since November 1937, when Paddy Killoran recorded the 2 tunes together. And the tune Down the Broom has been in play much longer still. Leitrim piper and fiddle player Stephen Greer included Down the Broom in his music manuscript collection in 1883, and before that, piper and cleric James Goodman had included it in Volume 2 of his music manuscript, which was an incredible project. This was a collection of pre-famine Irish tunes that wasn't known about until his death in 1896, when the entire Canon James Goodman 6-volume collection just showed up at Trinity College. There were these 2 musicologists who helped present the Goodman manuscripts, Hugh Shields, and later his collaborator and widow Lisa Shields. They said that Goodman got Down the Broom from the music manuscripts of 19th century Dublin bookseller John O'Daly. John was born in Waterford in the year 1800. When he was 26, he moved to Cork, where he met and married Ellen Shea. They moved with their growing family to Kilkenny. The Dictionary of Irish Biography was the only source I found that mentions their kids. No others mentioned 6 sons and 4 daughters, only 5 of whom lived beyond childhood. Times must have been trying for old John as he set up in Kilkenny. He worked for the Irish Society, he taught the Bible for a while, and then in 1833 he opened his first bookstore. He'd become passionate about Gaelic myths and history, probably a good way of finding some magic, and of explaining and finding some meaning through the deaths of his children, a way of finding some perspective, of mulling over something bigger and much older than current struggles, and a good way of avoiding Anglo-Irish influences, to which John was becoming increasingly allergic. John O'Daly began translating and selling Jacobite poetry with metrical translations and manuscripts of Oisin and other Fenian poets. Even back then, it was a pretty niche kind of a project. In 1845, the O'Daly family moved to Dublin, where John opened his shop on Anglesey Street. He stocked history and music books, political pamphlets, rare manuscripts, and his Jacobite poetry translations. His Dublin shop, which moved location twice in his 33 years in business in Dublin, became an important hub for established Irish scholars. Despite mass emigration and a really dwindling Irish book-buying market during and after the Great Famine, he clung to his mission from Kilkenny to Dublin for over 45 years. Thanks to that old bookseller John O'Daly and his friend John Goodman, we've got Down the Broom, and we can still enjoy it together, in person, or remotely from Tulla and over here in Boston.
Are we going to try and play together?
That's a nice idea.
Probably should have played it before.
Following his death in May 1878, John O'Daly's extensive book collection, together with some remaining manuscripts, was auctioned over 3 days. A lifetime of work, distributed in 72 hours all over Dublin. Some of his treasures are still surfacing, and with each little find, there are plenty of mysteries to consider and to unravel, whether you try them out in A minor, or down in E, or F, or E flat. All right, so we've got an older, wider view of the tune. Now let's get a wide view of the construction of the tune, how the phrases kind of fit together before we worry about what the actual notes are in each individual phrase.
So let's get that phrase architecture going. The first phrase. Nice A minor phrase ending on a C natural. Sounds like that might go a little low, lower than the flute.
Yes, there are several ways to play that second phrase. I really favor that one, even though I can't play a low B. I just play the octave above, and I imagine that I'm going down low. Third phrase.
Same as the first phrase, except for that one note at the end. It goes to a B instead of a C. And that last phrase obviously doesn't feel like a very satisfying ending, and that's because it's leading you back to the beginning again. So the first time you play it, you would play that ending. The second time you play it, you would play this ending. Which is leading you into the B part.
All right, let's try it with the metronome. I'll play a phrase, give you just enough time to play it back, or if you prefer, if you want to keep it easier, just sing it back. The goal is to learn it and to know it, and then you'll be able to find it on your instruments. Here we go. Back to the beginning again. So the second time through the A part goes like this.
Time for the B part. Let's get the overview of the B part. Okay, so it goes up high, which is common in a lot of these tunes, and it ends on that F sharp, which is probably leading us to a G. Nice G implied chord there. So that was the third phrase is the same as the first, except for the last note,
which is a G when I went like that.
That is the same ending as in the first part, and using the second ending, so it gets you back to the B part.
And then the second ending.
Yep. Which is the same as the first ending of the first part, getting you back to the first part. What if you were ending the tune entirely?
A lot of choices. We'll see what happens at the end of this
Okay.
video. Stay tuned. All right, let's get the metronome going, and I'll walk you through. I'll play a phrase, give you just enough time to sing or eventually to play that phrase. Here we go. And then we're back to the beginning of the B part, like this. All right, we're using our brains to see sort of how this tune is constructed and how each phrase fits together, so that if we should falter when playing the tune, we always know how to get back to it. Okay, let's talk about some of the chordal implications of this melody.
That's right. And they are implications because the melody doesn't come with a set of automatic chords that you have to play. You kind of have to hear what the melody is suggesting and then pick those chords.
It's a melodic tradition, and embedded in all of these tunes is sort of like evocative harmonic language, really. Mm-hmm. Even if you're not playing with a guitar player, there are still harmonies that are implied. This tune seems very static. It seems like you could really play A minor, G, and it would work for the most part.
Yeah, 2 bars of A minor, 2 bars of G, back and forth through the entire thing. There are tunes like that, and this is one of them.
And, you know, this would not be wrong. And what is the role of backing if not to kind of bring out what is already there in the melody and maybe tune into the rhythmic pulse that the melody players are putting down and vice versa, that everybody was working together. We don't need to sex it up necessarily. In fact, that can be obnoxious and a bit of a distraction from the tune at times. That said, A minor, G is awfully static. So maybe we can find a balance between some colorful substitutions here and there.
What I'm going to try and do is stick with the basic chords, but try and add a little bit of variation via the voicings that I use. So I will play through it, and I will just kind of yell out what I'm doing. One thing to notice is that I will be playing a lot of this chord, which is not really A minor. It's just an A with no third, because in this melody the C natural, the third of the third, is not that strong. So, but I'm going to say A minor anyway. Ready?
Go.
A minor, G, A minor, G, E minor, A minor, A minor, G, A minor, G, E minor, A minor over C, G over B, A minor. minor over C, G over B, A minor, G, E minor, A minor.
Hey!
Hey!
This has been wonderful, Matt.
Oh, thanks for having me, Shannon.
Loved going over some of the history of the tune, getting into the weeds about the different phrases of the tune.
Did you like the chords too?
I sure did.
Good.
And now we're going to put it all together.
That's right.
So maybe one time around the way we learned it, and then one time around.
With a little variation, little chances.
All right. A 1, 2. Resolved to A minor. Thanks for joining us at the Tune of the Month.
Hope to see you next time.